Have you ever wondered why the same patterns keep showing up in your life, year after year, no matter how hard you try to change them? Why does prosperity always seem to dance just beyond your fingertips, promising to arrive but never quite making it to your doorstep? If you're watching this video right now, it's not by accident. Something deep within you knows that this December is different. There's an energy stirring, a shift in the atmosphere that goes beyond the twinkling lights and holiday. Celebrations. It's the energy of transformation, of breakthrough, of finally stepping into the abundance that has always been meant for you. Has this ever happened to you? You set intentions at the beginning of the year, you work hard, you follow all the right advice, and yet somehow by December, you find yourself in the same place you were 12 months ago. The bank account looks similar. The relationships feel familiar. The challenges seem to repeat themselves like a song stuck on repeat. It's exhausting, isn't it? That hamster wheel of effort without the results you deeply desire. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Here's what most people don't understand about prosperity and manifestation. We've been approaching it from entirely the wrong direction. We've been taught that abundance comes from doing more, working harder, pushing through resistance. But what if I told you that the most powerful transformation you could ever experience doesn't require any of that? What if prosperity isn't something you chase, but something you become? December carries a frequency unlike any other month of the year. While the world around you is wrapping up, closing chapters, and preparing for endings, there's a hidden opportunity that most people completely miss. This is the month when the veil between who you've been and who you're meant to become grows thinner. It's the portal moment. The sacred crossroads where everything can shift in an instant. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share with you will completely revolutionize how you understand wealth, abundance, and your own creative power. This isn't another manifestation technique to add to your already overflowing spiritual toolbox. What you're about to discover is far more fundamental, far more powerful than any technique could ever be. You see, there's a part of you that already knows how to attract prosperity effortlessly. A version of yourself that doesn't struggle, doesn't question, doesn't wait for permission to live abundantly. This version has been waiting patiently in the background of your consciousness, and this December is when you finally step fully into that identity. The two words I'm going to reveal to you today have the power to collapse time, to bridge worlds, to fundamentally rewire your relationship with abundance. But they only work when you understand the deeper truth beneath them, when you grasp the principle that makes them so transformative. Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. The path behind you is familiar, comfortable, predictable, but deep down, you know it's not taking you where you truly want to go. And the path ahead whispers promises of something you've never quite experienced before. Not the fleeting excitement of a temporary win, but the deep, unshakable knowing that prosperity is your natural state. Most people spend their entire lives believing that transformation is a long, arduous journey. They think breakthrough moments are reserved for the lucky few, or that abundance requires years of struggle and sacrifice. But here's the hidden truth that changes everything. The most profound shifts in human consciousness don't happen gradually. They happen in an instant. In a single moment of recognition, everything you thought you knew about yourself and your capacity can completely dissolve, making way for a reality you never imagined possible. Think about the moments in your life when everything changed suddenly. Perhaps it was a decision you made that altered your entire trajectory, or a realization that hit you like lightning, reframing your entire understanding of a situation. These quantum leaps didn't require months of preparation. They required one thing: clarity. Decisive, unshakable clarity about who you are and what belongs to you. December isn't just the final month on your calendar, It carries a vibration, an energetic signature that's entirely unique. While others see it as a time of endings and reflections, there's something much more powerful happening beneath the surface. This month holds a frequency of completion, yes, but also of revelation. The energy of December creates a bridge between states of being, a portal that allows you to step from one version of yourself into another without the gradual transition you've been conditioned to expect. Subscribe to this channel if you're ready to continue this journey with me. What we explore here is designed to create real shifts in your consciousness, not just give you more information to consume. Can you feel it? That restlessness? That sense that something is shifting inside you even as you watch this video? It's not just the external world preparing for a new year. It's your inner world recognizing that you've outgrown the identity you've been carrying. The version of yourself that accepts limitations, that plays small, that waits for permission to claim what's already yours. That version is ready to be released. And waiting in the wings is someone you've always known existed, but perhaps never fully embodied. The you that lives in natural abundance, that attracts prosperity effortlessly, that moves through the world with unshakable confidence. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because understanding the mechanics of transformation is what separates those who experience fleeting moments of inspiration from those who create lasting, extraordinary change. Behind the scenes of every significant breakthrough in human experience, whether it's financial freedom, profound relationships, vibrant health, or creative expression, there's a pattern that most people never recognize. The transformation doesn't begin with changing circumstances. It begins with a fundamental shift in perception, in identity, in the very core of how you see yourself in relation to everything you desire. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for December's breakthrough," if you can feel something shifting in you right now. What most people don't realize is that they've been approaching prosperity from completely the wrong angle their entire lives. We've been conditioned by society, by well-meaning parents, by traditional education systems to believe that abundance is something we earn through hard work and struggle, that we need to prove ourselves worthy before the universe grants us what we desire. So we chase opportunities, we hustle relentlessly, we push against resistance, believing that if we just do enough, try hard enough, sacrifice enough, prosperity will finally arrive at our doorstep. But here's the revelation that completely upends everything you've been taught. Doing more doesn't create transformation. In fact, the constant doing, the endless striving, the perpetual proving often keeps what you desire at a distance. Because behind all that frantic activity is an unspoken belief, a hidden assumption that whispers, "I don't have it yet, and I need to work harder to get it." And that energy, that frequency of lack and separation, becomes the very thing that blocks your prosperity. The real secret, the one that master creators throughout history have understood, is that transformation doesn't happen through accumulating more techniques or strategies. It happens through a fundamental shift in your state of being. It's not about what you do, it's about who you are. Your state of being is like the soil in which all your desires either flourish or wither. You can plant the most beautiful seeds, water them with affirmations, fertilize them with vision boards, but if the soil itself is depleted, if your inner state is rooted in unworthiness or scarcity, those seeds will never fully bloom. Think of your consciousness as the architect of your reality. Everything you experience in the physical world, every circumstance, every relationship, every financial situation, is first created in the invisible realm of your inner landscape. Your thoughts, beliefs, and most importantly, your sense of identity form a template, a blueprint that the external world uses to construct your experiences. This isn't mystical thinking or wishful philosophy. It's a fundamental principle of how reality operates. The outer is always reflecting the inner with perfect precision. When you truly grasp this principle, you realize that trying to change your external circumstances without first addressing your internal state is like rearranging furniture in a house while the foundation is crumbling. You might create temporary improvements, brief moments where things seem better. But inevitably, you'll find yourself back in familiar patterns because the underlying structure hasn't changed. The impact of this understanding is profound because it means you have far more power than you ever imagined. You're not a victim of circumstances waiting for the world to change. You're the creator, the broadcaster, the one setting the frequency that determines what enters your experience. Now let me show you exactly how this works in your everyday life, because understanding the mechanics of this principle transforms everything about how you approach December and the prosperity you're ready to claim. The journey from where you are to where you want to be isn't about crossing vast distances or overcoming impossible obstacles. Type in the comments, "I am the creator," if this perspective is starting to shift how you see your own power. It's about recognizing that the distance you perceive is an illusion created by how you've been looking at reality itself. Imagine for a moment that your consciousness works exactly like a movie projector in a theater. The projector sits in the back of the room, casting images onto a blank screen. Now, if you don't like what you're seeing on that screen, if the movie isn't to your liking, would you go up to the screen and try to rearrange the images with your hands? Of course not. That would be absurd. You'd go back to the projector, change the film, adjust the lens. Yet this is precisely what most people do with their lives. They see poverty, struggle, and limitation on the screen of their external reality, and they frantically try to rearrange those circumstances without ever addressing the projector of consciousness that's creating them in the first place. Your inner state is constantly broadcasting, constantly projecting onto the canvas of your physical experience. And here's what makes this so powerful. The screen doesn't have opinions about what's being projected. It doesn't judge, doesn't resist, doesn't question. It simply reflects back with perfect accuracy whatever the projector shows it. Your external world operates the same way. It's a neutral mirror, showing you not what is objectively true for everyone, but what you hold to be true within the depths of your own consciousness. This is why two people can be in identical situations and have completely different experiences. One person sees opportunity everywhere, while another sees only obstacles. One feels abundant with modest means, while another feels impoverished despite wealth. The circumstances aren't determining the experience. The inner state, the consciousness doing the projecting, is creating the reality each person lives in. And here's the revelation that changes absolutely everything about your relationship with prosperity. What you've been desperately seeking isn't actually missing. The abundance, the confidence, the peace, the financial freedom you desire isn't somewhere out there waiting to be hunted down and captured. It's not a prize you need to earn through suffering or a reward for finally becoming good. Enough. The truth is far more beautiful and far more immediate than that. Everything you desire is already within you, not as potential that might someday develop if you work hard enough, not as possibility that could manifest if the stars align, but as present reality, here and now, waiting only for your recognition and acknowledgement. Your journey isn't about becoming someone new or acquiring something foreign to your nature. It's about remembering what you've temporarily forgotten, about clearing away the layers of conditioning and false beliefs that have been obscuring your true identity. Think about it this way. You can't desire something that doesn't already exist within your consciousness in some form. The very fact that you can conceive of greater abundance, that you can feel the longing for prosperity, that you can imagine a life of freedom means those realities already live inside you. They're not fantasies or wishful thinking. They're echoes of your true nature calling you home to yourself. Now, I want to reveal to you the exact mechanism that keeps most people locked out of this truth, because once you see it clearly, you'll understand why December represents such a powerful opportunity for transformation. Drop in the comments, "I remember who I am," if this is resonating with something deep inside you. The mechanism that keeps people trapped in cycles of wanting without receiving is surprisingly simple, yet almost everyone misses it completely. They focus entirely on changing what they do while their fundamental sense of identity remains exactly the same. They adopt new habits, learn new strategies, apply new techniques. But underneath all that activity, they still see themselves as someone who doesn't have what they want. And that identity, that core sense of self, is what determines everything. Look closely at anyone who's created extraordinary results in any area of life, whether it's someone who built exceptional wealth from nothing or healed from a supposedly incurable condition, or attracted a love that seemed impossible, or created work that changed the world. Behind the scenes of their success, you'll find the same pattern every single time. Before the external evidence appeared, before the circumstances shifted, before the money showed up or the relationship materialized, something changed within them. Their energy transformed. Their presence in the world became different. The way they carried themselves, the decisions they made, the quiet confidence they radiated, all shifted first. They didn't wait for success to feel successful. They didn't postpone feeling abundant until the bank account reflected it. They didn't hold back their most powerful self until conditions improved. They made a decision, often in a single moment, to embody the identity of the person who already had what they desired. And then, almost like magic, but actually through precise universal law, their external reality reorganized itself to match that new internal state. This is the hidden truth that the manifestation industry doesn't want you to understand, because if you truly got it, you wouldn't need to keep buying courses and techniques and tools. You'd realize that you are the tool, not your vision board, not your affirmations, not your crystals or rituals or manifestation journals. You, your state of being, your frequency, your embodied presence in the world. That's what creates your reality with every breath you take. When this revelation truly lands in your consciousness, everything about how you approach life transforms. You stop asking, "What do I need to do to get what I want?" and start asking, "Who do I need to be to naturally attract what I want?" You stop seeking outside yourself for the next technique that will finally work and start recognizing that the power has always been within you. You shift from doing to being, from chasing to embodying, from hoping to knowing. If something shifted inside you during this video, leave a like. It's your way of acknowledging to yourself that you're ready for this transformation. The impact of this shift can't be overstated. It's the difference between spending your life as a perpetual student of manifestation, always learning but never quite arriving, and becoming a master creator who understands that your very existence is the creative force. You're not using tools to manifest. You are the manifestation itself, continuously creating your experience through the state you choose to inhabit. Now, let me show you exactly how to make this shift in a way that's practical and immediate. Because understanding these principles intellectually is one thing, but embodying them is where the real transformation happens. Write in the comments, "I am the frequency," if you're ready to stop seeking and start being. The shift from seeking to being isn't a journey across vast distances. It's not a marathon you need to run or a mountain you need to climb. The gap you perceive between who you are right now and the prosperous, abundant version of yourself you dream about isn't actually a gap at all. It's a trick of perception, a mirage created by the way you've been taught to see reality. That version of you living in complete financial freedom, moving through the world with unshakable confidence, attracting opportunities effortlessly, experiencing life from a place of overflow rather than scarcity. That person isn't waiting for you somewhere in the distant future. They're not a reward you'll receive after years of hard work and sacrifice. That version of you exists right here, right now, in this present moment. Not as fantasy or imagination, but as potential that's already fully formed, simply waiting for your recognition and embodiment. Think of it like this. Within you, right now, exist infinite versions of yourself. Infinite possibilities of who you can be. Each one is equally real, equally available. The only thing determining which version you experience is the one you choose to identify with, the one you decide to embody through your thoughts, feelings, and most importantly, your sense of self. You're not becoming someone new. You're choosing which already existing aspect of yourself to activate and express. And this is where December's unique energy becomes so incredibly powerful. Can you feel it? That restlessness that's been building, that gentle but persistent voice inside whispering that something needs to change, that you're meant for more than what you've been settling for. It's not your imagination. It's not dissatisfaction or ingratitude. It's your soul's way of telling you that you've outgrown the limitations you've been accepting as reality. December isn't just the end of a calendar year. It's a threshold moment, an energetic portal where the veil between who you've been and who you're meant to become grows thinner. The universe is quite literally calling you upward, inviting you to elevate your consciousness, beyond the small story you've been telling yourself about what's possible for you. And the beautiful thing about this calling is that it's not asking you to become worthy of it. It's reminding you that you already are. For too long, you've been waiting for permission. Permission to dream bigger, to want more, to claim the prosperity that's yours by birthright. You've been playing a smaller version of yourself, dimming your light, settling for less than what makes your heart sing, because somewhere along the way, you absorb the belief that abundance isn't for people like you. But what if that entire belief system was just a story, a narrative you inherited but never chose for yourself? Now, I want to reveal to you the exact moment when everything shifts, when the perception changes, and suddenly you see clearly what's always been true. Share in the comments, I give myself permission, if you're ready to stop playing small and step into your full power this December. The moment everything shifts is when you recognize that your perception isn't showing you objective reality. It's creating your reality. The lens through which you view yourself and the world isn't a passive observer. It's an active constructor, a filter that determines what enters your experience and what remains invisible to you. When you look at life through the lens of scarcity, you literally cannot see abundance even when it's standing right in front of you. Someone could offer you an incredible opportunity, but if your perception filter is set to not for people like me, you won't even recognize it as an opportunity. You'll dismiss it, rationalize why it won't work, find reasons to stay exactly where you are. It's not that the opportunity wasn't real. It's that your lens made it invisible to you. But when your perception shifts, when you begin to see yourself as someone who naturally attracts prosperity, who belongs in spaces of abundance, who is worthy of extraordinary experiences, suddenly the entire landscape of your life transforms. The opportunities were always there. The possibilities always existed. But now you can actually see them. Now you can receive them. Your perception has expanded, and with it, your reality expands to match. This is why changing your external circumstances without addressing your internal perception never creates lasting transformation. You might force your way into a better job, manipulate your way into more money, push yourself into new situations, but if your underlying perception of yourself hasn't changed, you'll either sabotage those gains or find yourself right back where you started. The external might shift temporarily, but your perception pulls you back to what it believes is true about you. Here's the revelation that most people spend decades searching for, the secret that spiritual teachers have been pointing to throughout history, but that often gets lost in complex philosophies and esoteric practices. The transformation you're seeking, the shift that will make December the most prosperous month of your life, doesn't require years of meditation or mastery of complicated manifestation techniques. It doesn't demand that you earn it through suffering or prove yourself worthy through sacrifice. The entire shift, the complete revolution of your consciousness from scarcity to abundance, from limitation to possibility, from seeking to having, can happen in an instant. And it begins with just 2 words. 2 simple, powerful words that, when spoken from the right state of awareness, have the capacity to break the spell that's been running your life. These words aren't magic in themselves. Their power comes from the truth they represent, from the perception shift they trigger when you truly understand and embody what they mean. But before I reveal these 2 words to you, you need to understand why they work, because if I just gave them to you without this foundation, your mind would hear them, but your being wouldn't receive them. Type in the comments, "I'm ready for the shift," if you can feel yourself standing at the edge of a completely new way of seeing yourself and your relationship with prosperity. There's a reason why most people try technique after technique, affirmation after affirmation, and never experience the breakthrough they're seeking. They're attempting to install new software on an outdated operating system. They're adding layers of positive thinking on top of a foundation that's still programmed for scarcity, unworthiness, and limitation. And no matter how many layers you add, the underlying program keeps running in the background, silently sabotaging every effort you make. Your current relationship with money, success, and abundance isn't random. It's the output of a program that's been running in your subconscious mind, possibly for your entire life. This program was installed through childhood experiences, societal conditioning, inherited beliefs from your family, and countless small moments where you absorbed messages about what's possible for people like you. It runs automatically, making decisions for you, filtering your perception, determining what you believe you deserve before you even consciously think about it. What makes these two words so revolutionary isn't that they give you something new to think about. It's that they completely rewrite the operating system itself. They don't add another layer of positivity on top of your existing programming. They replace the entire foundation, shifting you from the paradigm of seeking and striving to the paradigm of already having and being. It's like upgrading from a computer that constantly crashes to one that runs smoothly and effortlessly, not because you learned better techniques for using the old system, but because you installed an entirely new one. And here's what's crucial to understand. This isn't about denying your current reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. That's the trap of superficial positive thinking, where you paste a smile over your true feelings and recite affirmations you don't really believe. What I'm pointing you toward is something far more substantial, far more powerful. It's about recognizing a truth that exists beneath the surface of your current circumstances, a deeper reality that's been there all along, but that your old programming prevented you from seeing. When you operate from this new foundation, everything in your life begins to transform, not just your bank account, though that will shift too, but the way you show up in your relationships changes. You stop seeking validation from others because you're sourcing it from within. The way you approach challenges transforms completely. Instead of seeing obstacles as evidence that you're not meant to succeed, you see them as temporary circumstances that your new state of being will naturally navigate. Your decision-making becomes clearer, faster, more aligned because you're no longer paralyzed by fear of making the wrong choice. The impact ripples through every single area of your existence because you're not just changing one aspect of your life. You're changing the lens through which you experience all of it. And when the lens changes, when your perception upgrades, the entire world you inhabit becomes different. Now let me take you deeper into understanding what these two words actually do at the level of consciousness, because this is where the real transformation happens. Write in the comments, "I choose the upgrade," if you're ready to let go of the old programming and install a completely new way of being. At the level of consciousness, these two words create a shift so profound that it changes your entire energetic signature in the world. Right now, if you're like most people, you're operating from a state of constant striving. There's a tightness in your chest when you think about money, a low-level anxiety that hums in the background of your mind about whether you'll have enough, whether you'll make it, whether your dreams will ever materialize. This striving energy is exhausting because it never allows you to rest, never permits you to feel satisfied with where you are even for a moment. But when these two words land in your consciousness with full understanding, something remarkable happens. That tight, grasping energy dissolves, the anxiety quiets, and in its place emerges a state of peaceful allowing, a calm certainty that what's meant for you is already yours. You stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. You stop forcing outcomes and start trusting the process. Your entire nervous system shifts from fight or flight survival mode into a state of relaxed receptivity. This isn't passivity, or sitting back hoping things will magically improve. It's something far more powerful. It's the recognition that you don't need to convince the universe of your worthiness or prove that you deserve abundance. You're moving from anxious attachment to every outcome, where you desperately need things to work out a certain way, into confident certainty that regardless of how circumstances appear right now, you're being guided toward your highest good. Your focus, which has probably been scattered across 1,000 different worries and what-ifs, suddenly aligns. You stop second-guessing every decision. You stop consuming endless content searching for the missing piece. You stop looking outside yourself for validation or direction. Everything consolidates into a clear, aligned purpose because you're no longer operating from fear of not having enough. You're operating from the knowing that you are enough, and therefore everything you need flows to you naturally. What I'm offering you in these 2 words isn't another manifestation technique to add to your already overflowing collection of spiritual practices. It's not a new ritual or process to follow. It's an invitation to step into a completely different state of being, one so powerful that it will silently yet dramatically redirect the entire trajectory of your life. This shift requires something from you, though. It requires an internal revolution, a willingness to fundamentally question and ultimately release the way you've been seeing yourself up until this moment. The old identity, the one that's been struggling and striving and working so hard to create prosperity, has to step aside, not through force or rejection, but through recognition that it was never the truth of who you are. It was just a role you were playing, a costume you put on so long ago that you forgot it wasn't your actual skin. Now, I want to explore with you what happens in the exact moment when you speak these 2 words from a place of genuine embodiment, because understanding this transforms everything. Put in the comments, "I'm ready to receive," if you can feel your consciousness opening to this new state of being. When you speak these 2 words, from a place of genuine embodiment, you're not trying to change your thoughts. This is where most people get it completely backwards. They assume that if they just think positively enough, repeat affirmations often enough, visualize clearly enough, their thoughts will eventually change their reality. So they spend hours trying to convince their minds of things they don't actually believe, creating this exhausting internal conflict between what they're saying and what they're feeling. But true transformation doesn't work that way. It doesn't start with thought. It starts with identity, with a fundamental shift in who you are being at the core level. When your identity changes, when you genuinely see yourself differently, your thoughts don't need to be managed or controlled. They naturally realign with your new sense of self. Your actions don't require willpower or discipline. They flow organically from who you've become. It's effortless because you're not trying to be someone you're not. You're simply expressing your true nature. And here's the profound truth that unlocks everything. You are not separate from anything you desire. This isn't poetic language or spiritual bypass. It's a fundamental principle of how consciousness works. The very fact that you can conceive of greater prosperity, that you can imagine a life of abundance, that you can feel the longing for financial freedom means these realities already exist within you. Not as distant goals you might achieve someday if you work hard enough, but as present possibilities, as seeds of potential that are already planted in the soil of your consciousness. You can't desire something that's completely foreign to your nature. A tree doesn't long to swim in the ocean because swimming isn't part of its essence. But you can desire prosperity because prosperity is part of your essence. You can imagine abundance because abundance is your birthright. The desire itself is evidence that what you're seeking already lives inside you, waiting for the right conditions to emerge and express itself in your physical experience. This completely transforms how you understand the journey ahead. You're not trying to become someone you're not. You're not attempting to acquire something foreign to your nature. You're simply removing the barriers, the false beliefs, the limited identities that have been blocking the natural expression of what's already within you. It's like a sculptor who doesn't create a statue by adding marble, but by removing the excess stone that's hiding the form that was always there. When you grasp this truth at a cellular level, not just as an intellectual concept, but as lived experience, everything about your relationship with prosperity shifts. You stop feeling like you're reaching for something outside yourself. You start recognizing that you're uncovering something that's been inside you all along. Now let me reveal to you the exact words that trigger this recognition, that collapse the perceived distance between who you think you are and who you truly are. Share in the comments, "I am not separate," if this truth is landing in a place deeper than your thinking mind. The beauty of this transformation is that once it happens at the identity level, you don't have to force yourself to act differently. Your decisions naturally shift because you're making them from a different place. The way you carry yourself in the world changes without conscious effort. Even your body, language, the energy you bring into a room, the confidence in your voice when you speak about your dreams, all of it transforms organically because it's flowing from who you've become, not from who you're pretending to be. Think about someone who's genuinely wealthy versus someone who's trying to appear wealthy. The person who's actually abundant doesn't think about how to act rich. They just move through the world with a certain ease, a natural comfort with prosperity that can't be faked. That's because their external behavior is simply the natural expression of their internal state. They're not performing abundance, they're being it. This is what happens when you embody these two words we're about to explore. You stop performing. You stop trying to convince yourself and others that you're prosperous. You simply become someone for whom prosperity is natural, expected, normal. And from that state, everything you do carries a different frequency. The opportunities you notice change. The people you attract shift. The decisions you make align with your highest path because they're coming from your authentic self, not from fear or lack. But I need to be honest with you about something. This journey, as simple as it sounds, requires tremendous courage. Not the courage to face external dangers or overcome massive obstacles. The courage to question everything you thought you knew about how reality works. Every belief you inherited from your family about money. Every limitation you absorbed from society about what's possible for people like you. Every fear-based story you've been telling yourself about why you can't have what you desire. These old patterns are familiar. They're comfortable in their own painful way because at least you know them. Letting them go, even when they're clearly not serving you, can feel terrifying because it means stepping into unknown territory. It means trusting a process you can't fully control. It means believing in a version of yourself you haven't physically seen yet, making decisions based on who you're becoming rather than who you've been. This is where most people stop. They get right to the edge of transformation. They feel the invitation to step into a new identity, and then fear pulls them back into familiar suffering. Because as much as they want prosperity, the unknown feels more threatening than the known struggle. But December is offering you something different. It's offering you the energetic support to make this leap, to trust before seeing, to embody before manifesting. Now I want to share with you the exact moment when this courage transforms into certainty, when the leap of faith becomes solid ground beneath your feet. Type in the comments, "I choose courage over comfort," if you're ready to question everything and step into the unknown where your true prosperity lives. The moment courage transforms into certainty happens when you stop looking outside yourself for answers and start accessing the deeper wisdom that's been within you all along. There's a part of you, beneath the noise of your conscious thinking mind, that already knows exactly how to create the life you desire. This isn't some mystical concept. It's the same intelligence that keeps your heart beating, that heals wounds without your conscious direction, that knows how to breathe while you sleep. This deeper wisdom has never forgotten who you truly are. It's never bought into the limiting stories about scarcity or unworthiness. It's been quietly waiting, patiently holding the vision of your highest potential, ready to guide you the moment you quiet the mental chatter enough to hear its voice. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't filled by learning more or doing more. It's filled by accessing this part of yourself that already possesses the blueprint for your prosperity. But here's what's been blocking your access to this wisdom. For most of your life, probably since childhood, you've been operating under a belief system that functions like invisible software running in the background of your mind. This programming was installed through thousands of small moments. Your parents' worried conversations about bills, teachers who told you to be realistic about your dreams, society's messages about who deserves wealth and who doesn't, friends and family who, often with good intentions, warned you not to get your hopes up. All of these experiences created an operating system built on a simple but devastating premise. You need to chase, prove, and struggle before you can have what you want. Prosperity isn't your natural state in this programming. It's something you earn through sacrifice, something you qualify for through worthiness, something that might come eventually if you work hard enough and get lucky enough. This invisible code has been silently shaping every decision you make, every opportunity you notice or miss, every relationship you form, every action you take. And the insidious thing about this programming is that it feels like truth. It feels like that's just how reality works, because you've never known anything different. It's so deeply embedded in your consciousness that you don't even question it. You just assume that's the way life is, that everyone experiences this struggle, that wanting more means you're ungrateful for what you have. But what if everything this operating system has been telling you is a lie? What if the struggle isn't necessary? What if prosperity is actually your natural state, and the only thing preventing you from experiencing it is this outdated programming running in the background? Now, I want to show you exactly how to recognize when this old programming is running, and how the two words we're about to explore completely override it with a new truth. Share in the comments, "I see the old programming," if you're starting to recognize the invisible beliefs that have been shaping your reality all along. You can recognize this old programming running when you catch yourself using certain language patterns. Every time you say, "I want to manifest abundance," or "I'm trying to attract prosperity," or "I hope to create wealth," listen closely to what's actually happening beneath those words. You're unconsciously positioning prosperity as something separate from you, something out there that you need to bring toward yourself through effort and technique. This is the fundamental misunderstanding that keeps most people trapped in cycles of wanting without receiving. The very language of manifestation, as it's commonly taught, creates an energetic gap between you and what you desire. When you say you want to attract money, you're implying that money is currently absent from your reality and needs to be pulled in from somewhere else. When you're trying to manifest success, you're reinforcing the belief that success isn't already part of who you are. And here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just semantic wordplay or positive thinking tricks. This perception of distance is energetic. It creates a literal frequency, a vibration that you're broadcasting into the universe. And that frequency isn't the frequency of having. It's the frequency of seeking, of lacking, of not yet. You're essentially telling the universe through your energetic signature that what you desire is over there, separate from you, requiring a journey to obtain. The universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, reflects that frequency back to you by keeping your desires perpetually at a distance. Not because it's withholding from you or testing you, but because it's matching the signal you're sending. You're creating the very gap you're trying to close simply through how you're relating to your desires. Think about how this shows up in your daily experience. When you see something you want, there's often this underlying feeling that accompanies it, a sense that it exists in someone else's reality, but not yours. A belief that there's a whole journey, a series of steps, maybe years of work before you can have it. That feeling isn't just psychological. It's creating an energetic barrier, a force field of separation that keeps you in the paradigm of seeking rather than receiving. And every manifestation technique you try while operating from this paradigm only reinforces it. You visualize what you want, affirming its absence. You create vision boards of things you don't currently have, highlighting the gap. You repeat affirmations trying to convince yourself of something you don't actually believe, creating internal conflict between what you're saying and what you're feeling. Now, I want to reveal to you how the two words we're about to explore completely dissolve this illusion of distance and collapse the energetic gap in a single moment of recognition. Put in the comments, "There is no distance," if you're beginning to see how the perception of separation has been creating your experience of lack. The revelation that changes everything is this: what if prosperity isn't something you need to chase down and capture? What if all this time, while you've been seeking abundance, abundance has been seeking you? What if the relationship is reciprocal, mutual, and the only thing creating the experience of separation is your belief that you're on one side of a divide and your desires are on the other? This isn't just a comforting idea. It's a fundamental truth about how consciousness and reality interact. The desires that live in your heart didn't randomly appear there. They're not cruel tricks designed to torment you with wants you can never fulfill. They're breadcrumbs, signals, invitations from a higher intelligence guiding you toward the fullest expression of who you're meant to be. The fact that you can conceive of greater prosperity means you're being called toward it. The longing itself is evidence that what you desire is already part of your destiny, already aligned with your path. The gap you perceive, that distance that feels so real and insurmountable, is an illusion created by limited perspective. It's like standing in a dark room, convinced you're alone, when actually everything you need is right there with you, simply waiting for the light to reveal it. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the belief in separation itself. Remove that belief, shift that perspective, and the gap dissolves instantly. But here's what makes this even more profound. Beneath your conscious thinking mind, beneath the worried thoughts and fearful projections and limiting beliefs, there exists a deeper intelligence within you. This isn't metaphorical. It's the same wisdom that orchestrates your breathing without you thinking about it. The intelligence that keeps your heart beating at exactly the right rhythm. The profound knowing that coordinates millions of cellular functions every second, healing wounds, fighting infections, maintaining perfect balance in systems so complex that science still doesn't fully understand them. This deeper intelligence has been managing impossibly intricate processes your entire life without requiring your conscious input or permission. And here's what most people never realize. This same intelligence knows exactly how to create prosperity in your life. It's not confused about manifestation. It's not struggling to figure out the right techniques or wondering if it's worthy enough. It's already a master creator, already operating at a level of sophistication that makes your conscious efforts look elementary by comparison. The reason you haven't been experiencing the prosperity this intelligence wants to create for you is simple. You've been overriding it with your conscious mind, your worried thoughts, your limiting beliefs, your constant mental chatter about how hard everything is drowns out the quiet guidance of this deeper wisdom. Now, I want to show you how. These two words create an opening, a space of silence where this deeper intelligence can finally express itself fully in your life. Write in the comments, "I trust my deeper knowing," if you're ready to stop overriding your own innate wisdom with fear and limitation. Creating an opening for this deeper intelligence isn't about adding more practices to your daily routine or mastering new manifestation techniques. It's actually the opposite. It's about subtraction, about clearing away the mental debris that's been blocking the natural flow of your innate wisdom. Think of it like a stream that's been dammed up with fallen branches and accumulated sediment. The water doesn't need to learn how to flow. It already knows. It just needs the obstacles removed so it can follow its natural course. The pathway to your prosperity has always been there, built into the very fabric of your being. But it's been obscured by layers of fear-based thinking, doubt disguised as realism, and the constant noise of a mind that's been trained to worry rather than trust. Every time you obsess over how something will happen, every moment you spend in anxiety about whether you're doing enough, every instance of questioning your worthiness, you're placing another branch in the stream, another obstacle between you and the natural flow of abundance. What these two words do, when truly embodied, is create a moment of profound silence, a gap in the incessant mental chatter where your deeper intelligence can finally be heard. And in that silence, in that space of quiet knowing, the pathway clears itself, not through force or effort, but through the simple recognition of what's always been true. And here's the principle that makes all of this work. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to who you are. This distinction is everything. You can want prosperity with every fiber of your conscious being. You can visualize it perfectly. You can affirm it constantly. But if your underlying state of being is rooted in lack and unworthiness, that's what the universe reads. That's what it mirrors back to you with perfect, unwavering precision. The universe isn't listening to your words or even your thoughts. It's reading your frequency, your energetic signature, the state of being you're broadcasting through every cell of your body. And it matches that state exactly, like a tuning fork vibrating in response to a specific pitch. When you're in a state of seeking, you receive more opportunities to seek. When you're in a state of lacking, you experience more circumstances that confirm your lack. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because it's perfectly reflecting your internal reality. The breakthrough everyone is searching for doesn't come from wanting more intensely or visualizing more clearly. It comes from a fundamental shift in your state of being, from operating as someone who lacks to embodying the identity of someone who already has. Now, let me reveal to you the exact words that trigger this state shift, that move you from seeking to being in a single moment of recognition. Type in the comments, "I am the state," if you're understanding that transformation is about who you're being, not what you're doing. When you make the shift from operating through your conditioned mind to operating from your deeper intelligence, everything about your experience of life transforms. The constant striving, that exhausting push to make things happen, dissolves into something far more elegant, aligned allowing. You stop forcing doors open and start noticing which ones are already unlocked for you. The anxious wanting that's been consuming your mental energy shifts into peaceful having, where you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their prosperity is assured. Your focus, which has probably been scattered across dozens of worries and possibilities, suddenly becomes coherent. Instead of fragmenting your attention between what could go wrong and what you hope might go right, you find yourself naturally concentrating on what's aligned with your highest path. And the remarkable thing is, this doesn't require discipline or willpower. It happens organically when you're operating from your true nature rather than from fear-based conditioning. But here's what most people don't want to hear, even though it's the key to their freedom. If your life currently feels like a struggle, if opportunities seem scarce, if prosperity appears to be for everyone except you, these aren't random circumstances. They're not bad luck or poor timing or evidence that the universe has forgotten about you. They're precise, accurate reflections of your dominant state of being. The mirror never lies. It can't. The outer world is always, without exception, showing you what's happening on the inner landscape of your consciousness. This truth can feel harsh at first because it strips away every excuse, every external thing you've been blaming for your circumstances. You can't point to the economy or your upbringing or other people's advantages anymore. But here's the gift hidden in this revelation. If your outer reality is reflecting your inner state, then changing your inner state changes everything. You're not powerless. You're not at the mercy of external forces. You have complete authority over the one thing that creates your entire experience, your state of being. Look at your current circumstances as if they're a printout, a physical manifestation of the program that's been running in your consciousness. Every financial limitation is showing you a belief in scarcity. Every closed door is reflecting a part of you that doesn't believe you're meant to walk through it. Every struggle is pointing to an internal resistance, a place where you're fighting against your own natural flow. The beauty of this understanding is that you don't need to change 1,000 different circumstances. You only need to change one thing, who you're being. And that's exactly what these two words accomplish in a single moment of embodiment. Now, I want to prepare you for what happens in your consciousness the instant you speak these words from a place of genuine recognition rather than hopeful wishing. Share in the comments, "I see the reflection," if you're beginning to recognize how your inner state has been creating your outer experience all along. The moment you truly grasp that you are the broadcaster, everything changes. Your state of being isn't something passive that responds to your circumstances. It's an active transmission, a constant signal being broadcast out into the universe every single second. And that signal, that frequency you're embodying, functions like a powerful magnet. It draws toward you the people, opportunities, circumstances, and experiences that match its vibration with remarkable precision. Think of yourself as a radio station. Right now, you're broadcasting on a specific frequency. If you're transmitting the signal of lack, of "I don't have enough," the universe can only tune in and respond to that frequency. It sends you more experiences that confirm and reinforce that signal. Not because it's trying to keep you stuck, but because it's perfectly matching what you're broadcasting. If you're transmitting worry about money, you'll attract situations that give you more to worry about. If you're broadcasting unworthiness, you'll magnetize experiences that confirm you're not enough. But when you shift your frequency, when you become the broadcaster of abundance instead of lack, of certainty instead of doubt, of already having instead of desperately seeking, the entire universe reorganizes itself to match that new signal. Different people come into your life. Different opportunities become visible. Different circumstances unfold. Not because you manipulated reality, but because you changed the transmission, and reality responded accordingly. And here's where we reach the threshold of true spiritual mastery. Anyone can want prosperity badly. Anyone can learn manifestation techniques and follow them diligently. Anyone can visualize their dreams and create vision boards and repeat affirmations. But there's a profound difference between all of that and what I'm pointing you toward. True mastery is the capacity to shift your state of being without needing external circumstances to validate that shift first. It's embodying prosperity before. You see it in your bank account. It's carrying yourself with the confidence of success before you have the credentials. It's feeling abundant before the evidence appears. This is what separates conscious creators from perpetual seekers. Seekers wait for reality to change before they allow themselves to feel different. Creators change how they feel, shift who they're being, and then watch reality reorganize itself to match. This is the leap that most people never make because it requires you to trust something you can't yet see. It asks you to believe in a version of yourself that hasn't been validated by external circumstances. It demands that you embody a state that seems contradicted by your current reality. Now let me show you exactly how these two words give you the power to make this leap with certainty rather than blind faith. Because when you understand what they truly mean, the shift becomes inevitable. Put in the comments, "I shift first," if you're ready to stop waiting for circumstances to change before you allow yourself to embody prosperity. The power of your inner state goes beyond just attracting circumstances. It literally creates the lens through which you perceive reality itself. When you're operating from a state of lack, from a consciousness of not enough, something fascinating happens in your perception. The world around you begins to conspire to validate that state. You suddenly notice every bill that arrives, every expense you weren't expecting, every person who seems to have more than you. Your lens is set to scarcity, so that's all you can see, even when abundance is present all around you. Someone could offer you an incredible opportunity, but through the lens of lack, you won't recognize it as opportunity. You'll see obstacles instead. You'll focus on why it won't work rather than how it could. You'll find reasons to stay safe in your familiar struggle rather than risk stepping into unknown prosperity. The lens doesn't just filter what you notice. It actively shapes what comes into your experience by determining what you're available to receive. But here's the revelation that completely transforms how you understand this entire journey. You're not actually creating your prosperity from scratch. Creation implies bringing something into existence that didn't exist before, building it from nothing through sheer force of will and effort. And that's exhausting because it positions you as separate from what you desire, working to bridge a gap between here and there. The truth is far more beautiful and far more immediate. You're not creating your reality, you're remembering it. This subtle distinction changes absolutely everything about your approach. When you're trying to create prosperity, you're unconsciously operating from the belief that it doesn't exist yet, that you need to manufacture it through techniques and strategies. That very premise locks you into lack consciousness because the foundation of your effort is, I don't have this. But when you shift to remembering, you're acknowledging something profound. What you desire already exists. Not as distant possibility or future potential, but as present reality in a higher dimension of consciousness. Your job isn't to create it from nothing. Your job is to align with what already is, to tune your frequency to match the reality that's been waiting for you all along. This is why trying so hard actually blocks your prosperity. The effort itself is rooted in the belief that what you want isn't already yours. The struggle confirms separation, but remembering, true remembering, carries the energy of recognition rather than acquisition. It's the difference between hunting for something lost and suddenly recalling where you put it. Now, I want to reveal to you the exact moment when remembering becomes embodiment, when recognition transforms into lived experience, because this is where the two words finally make complete sense. Write in the comments, I remember my prosperity, if you're feeling the shift from trying to create to simply remembering what's already yours. The moment remembering becomes embodiment is when you stop pushing against reality and start relaxing into it. All the struggle, all the effort, all the techniques you've been employing have been forms of pushing, trying to force the universe to give you what you want, attempting to manipulate circumstances into alignment, working to prove you're worthy enough to receive. But that entire approach is built on resistance, on the belief that reality as it currently exists is wrong and needs to be corrected. What happens when you shift from creating to remembering is a profound relaxation. You're no longer fighting against what is. You're recognizing that your desired reality already exists in perfect completion. It's not waiting to be built. It's waiting to be acknowledged. And in that recognition, in that moment of remembering who you truly are and what's already yours, by divine inheritance, the struggle ends. Not because you gave up, but because you finally understood there was never anything to struggle against. Your prosperity isn't something you need to earn through worthiness or extract from a reluctant universe through perfect technique. It's your birthright, your natural state, the reality that's been held in trust for you since before you were born. The only thing that's been blocking it is your forgetting, your belief that you're separate from it, your conviction that it needs to be created rather than claimed. And this brings us to the principle that Florence Scovel Shinn understood so deeply, the truth that cuts through all the spiritual noise and manifestation confusion. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. These 8 words contain the skeleton key that unlocks everything. They explain why some people seem to effortlessly magnetize prosperity, while others work incredibly hard and remain stuck in the same patterns. The people who manifest with ease aren't using better techniques. They're not visualizing more clearly or affirming more consistently. They're simply being the frequency of what they desire. They've embodied the state of prosperity so completely that it's no longer something they're reaching for. It's who they are. And because the universe responds to being rather than wanting, it mirrors back circumstances that match their state. The ones who struggle, despite all their effort and spiritual knowledge, are caught in the trap of wanting. They desire prosperity intensely, but their core identity remains rooted in lack. So they attract more experiences of lacking, more circumstances that confirm they don't have what they want, because that's the state they're broadcasting, regardless of what they're consciously wishing for. Now, after everything I've shared with you, after laying this entire foundation of understanding, you're finally ready to receive the 2 words that collapse all of this wisdom into a single declaration of truth. Type in the comments, "I am ready," if you can feel yourself standing at the threshold of complete transformation, ready to embody rather than seek. The two words that have the power to transform your entire relationship with prosperity, to collapse time, to bridge the gap between who you've been and who you're meant to become, are simply this: it's already mine. Say them out loud right now. It's already mine. Say them again, slower. This time, letting each word sink into your consciousness. It's already mine. Feel what happens in your body when you speak these words from a place of genuine conviction rather than hopeful wishing. There's a shift, isn't there? A subtle but unmistakable change in your energy, in your posture, in the very frequency you're broadcasting. These words aren't just another affirmation to repeat mindlessly. When spoken from the right state of awareness, they don't change what you believe. They change who you are. They end the version of yourself that's been seeking, searching, waiting for prosperity to arrive someday when you've finally done enough or become worthy enough. They dissolve the identity that thought the prize was waiting at some distant finish line that you had to struggle to reach. It's already mine. These three words collapse the entire journey into a single moment of recognition. Not recognition of something new, but remembering of something that's always been true. Your prosperity isn't coming. It's not on its way. It's not dependent on circumstances aligning perfectly or you finally mastering the right techniques. It's already yours, right now, in this moment, before any external evidence appears. And this is where December's unique energy becomes so incredibly powerful. This month isn't just the end of another year on your calendar. It's your personal threshold, your portal, the sacred space between who you've been and who you've now decided to be. December holds the frequency of completion and new beginning simultaneously, making it the perfect energetic container for this level of transformation. The version of you who speaks these words with full embodiment, who declares from the depth of their being that prosperity is already theirs, isn't waiting for permission from the universe or validation from circumstances. They're not postponing their state of abundance until the bank account reflects it. They're embodying their desires now, in this present moment, regardless of what the external world shows. They've made the shift from seeking to being, from hoping to knowing, from someday to already. Now I want to show you exactly what happens in your reality when you begin operating from this state, when these words become more than a declaration and transform into your lived identity. Share in the comments, "It's already mine," if you're ready to claim your prosperity this December and step into the version of yourself who knows rather than hopes. If you're still with me right now, if you've journeyed through every word of this message, that's not coincidence. Something in you recognized the truth we've been exploring together. You're not just a casual viewer who stumbled upon this video. You're someone who's genuinely ready for the transformation December is offering you. I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel if you feel called to continue this journey with me. What we explore here isn't surface-level content. It's deep wisdom designed to fundamentally shift how you experience reality, delivered in a way that actually lands in your consciousness rather than just passing through your mind. When you subscribe, you're choosing to surround yourself with this frequency consistently, and that choice alone begins to rewire your relationship with prosperity. Leave a comment right now and simply write, "This message was meant for me," if you can feel that these words found you at exactly the right moment in your journey. Your declaration isn't just for me to see. It's a commitment you're making to yourself, a marker in your consciousness that says you're ready to embody this truth. And if this resonated with you, if something shifted as we move through these ideas together, take a moment to leave a like on this video, not as a favor to me, but as an acknowledgement to yourself that you're committed to this new way of being. There's a video right here that takes this understanding even deeper, exploring exactly how to maintain this state of "it's already mine" when circumstances seem to contradict it. Click and continue with me there, because the journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning to unfold in the most beautiful ways.